welcome, welcome, welcome. We want to dive into a bit of personal growth and just have a way with the hugeness and the bigness of the information that I feel to share upon my heart. So most of the things that I usually share are either from my personal life, either conversations that I've had with people, and things that I know that we should be able to learn from. Some of them are pleasant and some of them are usually not pleasant. And then sometimes we both fall from both sides. But first of all, we'd love to welcome the audience and those that are following online. Thank you so much for joining us. We are glad that you are here. We get the messages, we get the feedback, we get the love, and we feel the love, okay? And if you're watching right now, wherever you are, make sure that you put in some fire in the inbox or in the chat box and tell us that yes, I am watching, I am following, some love, some thumbs up. Let's make sure that we go together. And then what you can do, a favor that you can do for us, for those of us that are here, is that you will share this message with whoever needs this message. If you feel like it would help so and so, make sure that you share it with them so that we can be able to grow together, okay? Remember, and I will always remind us about this, that we chose to thrive, okay? And thriving is an uphill task. Thriving is not like surviving. Surviving, you can survive without planning, okay? You can sink without, you don't put enough effort into, sinking. But surviving, Kale, you're there. But when it comes to thriving, my friend, that is the hardness of the food that we are going to be able to feed on today. So today, I want us to talk about it's okay to hurt them. It's okay to hurt them. I just saw the way you looked at me and I just saw the way you looked at me and I'm like, okay, what exactly are they thinking? Okay, it's okay to hurt some people. Now, I have not said that go out and hurt people. That go plan, orchestrate in your own power and your own understanding to go and misbehave or to go and step on people's toes. And I think I got this from a conversation that I had with Tim recently. Because apparently whenever I'm with him, I'm this chatterbox who never keeps quiet, but I'm always bouncing ideas off. You know, when you're bouncing ideas, you bring the ideas, you bounce off someone, you even answer yourself. And so this particular time, I was talking about course correcting, okay? Course correcting someone. And when I was thinking about course correcting, even to the corrector, do you know that you feel bad for course correcting, for correcting someone or for helping someone? Because then you're thinking, how are they going to take it? Then you're thinking, I'm going to be called a wiseacre. Then you're thinking, but is it even in my docket? Can someone else correct them? Like you usually want to distance yourself because then you fear to hurt their feelings, okay? But again, not knowing that sometimes fearing to hurt their feelings is equal to pleasing them, but again, letting them have a future that is going to come back and haunt them because there is a correction that was not made. Okay? It's like a sheep that is on the move. There is a time I talked about it here and I say that if you want to change the direction of a sheep, you don't make an about turn. No, you just take a few degrees off the normal radar or the normal path that it was supposed, and it will find itself in a totally different destination than the destination where it was supposed to go. And there's a story I actually read. It was about a shipwreck, and what happened was this particular, what are they called, captains? So this particular captain was cleaning the compass, and when he was cleaning the compass, he was using a knife. So the tip of the knife broke off and it remained in the compass. But he didn't know, or he thought it will be okay. So what happened is the ship took a totally different, it veered off the direction it was supposed to go. And they found themselves in a totally different path that they were not supposed to take, that was very turbulent until the ship, actually they got a shipwreck. And when they went back to find out from the shipwreck and got the compass, that it was totally far off away from where they were supposed to go. But he didn't know that while he was cleaning the compass, the tip of the knife fell into the compass, and so it misdirected the compass. So the compass, I think, because have you ever seen a compass? It's like a clock, like and it's on a free fall. So wherever you make it point, it gives you the direction immediately. So, but you realize that what the oscillating hands are usually on a free move. So that means if there is any small hindrance that is standing in the way, it's actually not going to move. Why? Because it's not using too much power. It's just a free fall. So it's not using too much pressure to be able to move around. So anything that is standing in its way, it's possible that it will hold it in one place and it will never reach its destiny, or it will never take you to the destination that you want to go. I know so many of us have wanted to correct people in our lives. Have wanted to correct people in it could be a spouse, could be your children, could be your siblings. Could be, sorry, it could be your parents. Oh my goodness. Hey, you guys, I know. But you literally see, because what happens is God gave us the instinct to know the good and the bad. When someone is doing something bad, you clearly know that that person is doing something bad. You clearly know they are speaking in a wrong way, or they don't have facts about what they are talking about, or that is rumor mongering, or that is gossip that they are doing, or that is a bad tone that they used in that meeting, or whatever, or that is a bad dressing code for that particular occasion that they were supposed to go to. So you realize, and then sometimes this person has done it quite repeatedly, that some people in their vicinity have gotten used to that. Have you gone to a lumbe and you see someone doing something and the family members are like, oh, what yo? We got used. Oh, senga kati linda ko. You know, after he takes like one bottle like this, you're going to hear how many words they are going to speak. Like, people have gotten used that that is who they are supposed to be. Now, there is usually one wiseacre in the family. There is usually that one wiseacre. And sometimes there are always millennials, a Gen Z, and sometimes a Gen... You know, they will always want to come, and maybe they didn't know what has happened, or what has been happening for the past 10 years. And now they feel like they want to put their auntie in their position and in their... I'm going to give her my peace of mind. And then everyone will be like, don't bother. We have tried, you're wasting your time. And they're like, it's okay. People fear them. Do you know there are people in families who are never corrected? Yeah. They just walk away and get away with wrongdoing. And no one will say anything. Why? Because people fear. And we're going to talk about why people don't correct people. Okay? And then we will also talk about what happens when you actually don't correct a person. Because that means you have loved their wrongdoing and their present more than you love their future. That means you don't love them enough. You don't care how their lives turn out, okay? Love people's future more than you love their feelings. When you learn someone, you remember we talked about denial some time back? And we said that denial, one of the explanations that we say that it's one closing their eyes to the reality that is happening, because it's going to hurt their feelings right now, but not knowing that it's going to come back and haunt them later. So they're living in denial. They are going slowly, but they're sliding into a very bad place that maybe they will never help themselves out of. Now, most of the times when someone is sliding into a bad place and you have the capability, you have the potential to actually help them, and you don't help them because you're saying, how are they going to take it? That means you love their feelings more than their future. And yet it has to be vice versa. I love your future enough, and I am willing to lose you in case you reject me, but you will thank me later. And I think that is where engombo, or the saying of you will thank me later, that is where I think it comes from. Have you ever asked yourself, now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, let me hurt you now, but later you will look back and be like, oh my goodness. There is a time I think my mother refused me to go to a party. I was... She refused. Oh, I saw her like a ghost. I was like, but what's wrong with this woman? You know, I'm in my prime age. You know, where you feel like you are the girl. And now, all of a sudden, and this was only one party. I was not like a party girl. I was not really, that much into people. I was in my own world. I grew taller very fast. And I grew bigger very fast. That even when I was young, people thought I was mature. So I locked myself in my own cocoon because people used to misjudge my age and misjudge my competences and my capabilities. And I've told you a story where my uncles were like, "No, mukulu echimala afumbirwe." And until now, whenever I look at them, I was like, what was wrong with your head? Like, what was going on in your mind? So this one time, there's this party, and where the cool girls are going to in school. And so you're like, I usually don't go to parties, but this time I would really want to go. I know. And later, I didn't even think about the details, what to dress or what, those days where you dress anything and just show up. So I come, I tell her, there's this party. And of course, you want to tell her all your friends are going. You want to tell her, you want to sweet talk your parent. And I remember she looked at me and then she was like, "Hey, you're not going." So when she told me you're not going, like cold water being poured on you, like you had even told your friends, I am coming. Yeah, they've even told you the dress code, what they're going to do. And because I was coming from a very poor background, some of them even offered. They were like, I'm going to bring 2 clothes. You'll even dress, mine. I don't mind, I'll bring the shoes and something like that. And because I was a leader in school, so everyone was, and then I was loved in school. So everyone, I think, was like, you know what, it's okay to hang out with her. So she tells me, I'm not going. I looked at her and then I was like, I didn't have anything to tell her, definitely. But I felt like what I felt in that moment was tanjagaliza. What I felt in that moment, she doesn't love me. What I felt in that moment is, I think other people have cool mothers and mine is just not cool. Like, I just felt like someone who is limiting me. You're just in my way. And I remember the next words, that's when she told me, I will never put you in my pocket to walk with you. Even if you decided to go to school and maybe not reach school and go to another place, that will be on you. Whatever consequences you go through will be on you. Nja kuberayo ku kitanda okujjanjaba, nja kuberayo naye obulwadde bujja kulumani. She started definitely her motherly talk, and as she speaks, then in that moment you're even annoyed, you're not listening, but your ears are open. Your ears are open. And I remember after some time, I started seeing a trend of the fellow girls on my village, one by one dying, many of them on abortion tables, many of them practicing even incest, many of them, as in a lot was happening, and we lost so many girls. To the extent I can say that indeed on that village, the strong standing, because my mother told me, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're even taking care of your siblings. Now, I had the chikondoro. My friend, I move with you, you're behind me. We go to school, come and check on me on break time. I want to know what is happening. So now I went from taking care of myself to taking care of my siblings. But when the trend of girls dying while aborting, after some time, I was like, she was wise. Because one of the girls was like, they spiked her drink and she didn't understand. She woke up the next day with 4 boys somewhere. And so it's now in hindsight, you look back and you're like, I am so thankful that someone course-corrected me. Even when I didn't want to be course-corrected, my mind was telling me this is the best thing for me. But someone saw it fit to not entertain my feelings, but to love my future more than they loved my feelings then. And what are we doing as parents to our children in this generation? We are entertaining their feelings more than their future. Whatever it is that they want is what we are providing. As in, we have become slaves in our own homes in a bid to please the children that we have given birth to. And now it's high time things have to change and go back to their place. That you as a parent, you love their future more than you love their feelings right now. As in, Sambagala, Ariela will know me. She will keep quiet. You will definitely know a kid who has gotten annoyed. She will get annoyed, move ngalingali kubuyungo, and then bang the door. And bang the door, that is another, you've earned yourself a beating. Yeah, you've earned yourself a beating. Me, I'm an analog mother, I am not a modern mother. And then after that, you go and hide that you have gotten annoyed. We forget about you. Like, no, seriously, we forget about you. Those things of wanting, and even my mother, even when because that is how she parented us. Now, of recent, I've had her at my place, and whenever atamzango byungagamba yo mumuveko, mumwera bide. By the time my judge said yo mumuveko, you just know maje. That is how she groomed us. And it's like temwakula. Like temumwa, don't even call her. Don't. Yeah. And then she will be there, she will be forgotten, and then she will start peeping. As in, munetaga, do you need me? You don't need me. And then the brother will be like, sister is there. And all of us will pretend like we have not even seen her. And she will come sit on her own, and she will be a behaved person. But the more you do that, the more she knows that, by the way, you don't do those weird things, okay? So, stressing, loving someone's future. Just look at the people that have done all the weird things around you. It could be people that you employ, could be people that are working below you, okay? And sometimes we have loved company too much, or working with, or keeping or heaping people around us, and we fear to hurt their feelings, because then if we hurt their feelings, they might get another person to go to. The same thing. Love their future. I will correct you that even if you go somewhere else, you will be a better product and a better person. In this world, just like we talked about the people that we need, we have people that are assigned to us and people that are attached to us. Now, that is totally different from what we actually talked about. Those that are attached to us and those that are assigned to us. The people that are attached to you. In a second. They are just attached to you. The people that are assigned to you, even when you course correct them, they will stick around. So now, if we take away from the assignment and the attachment, omuntu owokukwagala n'okussaamu ekitiibwa, if they are indeed your siblings, they will respect you, and they will be like, you know what, so-and-so does not mince their words. They will call it A when it is an A, and they will call it B when it is a B. And I would rather that someone is as straight to me like that than mincing their words, because when you mince your words, you delay my growth. When you come at me direct, is it piercing? Yes, it's going to be piercing. Is it possible that I will even think wrong about you, or I'll have ill feelings? It's very possible. But let me tell you, if I still want growth, I will ground myself and I will humble myself. And whenever I look at you, I will salute you. I will be so glad that you were able to mention the words that you mentioned, that no one can actually mention to me. For example, sometime I asked and said, who corrects the leaders? That's why we have so many giants that are falling. We have so many giants that are losing it. But why? Because they have not put themselves, no one is willing to correct them, but again, they have not put themselves in a place where people can approach them. They have become a god of some sorts. They have fortified themselves. They have put security guards around themselves. In order to see them, you have to book appointments and you have to do all these things. And then you're like, you know what? Oko watu natandika. Exactly. As in, the leaders in this town, my friend, they don't have Ugandan numbers for WhatsApp. They have numbers from Western countries. And then I'm not saying that is bad. And I'm not saying, because there is a magnitude of leadership that you get to, and it's a mass that you must limit, some masses. Because then as a leader, you have the mandate to have clarity of direction about where you're taking people. So if you engage in every small talk and everything, woe unto you. You're not going to manage your task. But again, amongst your team, there should be people that you are free with that will tell you, Mama, this is not right. That will tell you, Papa, speed. Tukendeze moko. That will tell you, you are firing that man, but you will need that man in order for this company to grow. So if you're looking for growth, if you're looking for temporary happiness of namugobye, mogobe. But if you're looking for growth, swallow the bitter herb, shake their hands, and welcome them back into your company. Because you will need them. They are a pillar to your growth. Okay? But again, that is a leader that has opened themselves, and that is a leader that has put pillars around themselves, and one that can say, Totyanga kungamba chino. Olunaku bwe lutuukanga. Let me tell you, power can get to people's heads. Gamba olunaku bwe lutuukanga ng'esente zimpitiriddeko obungi n'amaanyi ng'olaba mpaganyadde. Break me down. And that is where sometimes we need the mentors and the advisors. And the mentors that we are able to submit fully to them, that when they say something, you will say, yes, sir. You will say, you know what? I'm taking the steps back and I'm realigning myself. And let me tell you, there is a blessing in that. There is growth, there is multiplication. Actually, not even multiplication, but quantum leaps. You remember last time we talked about God correcting you versus a human being correcting you, or you correcting yourself. Self-correction is the best. A human being correcting you is the next best thing. When God corrects you, you end up in the whale's belly. Yeah. You stay there for 3 days, you know? And then when you come back, you're like, wow, did you send me Nineveh? I'm going back to So you don't wait for God, because God sometimes breaks you. He breaks your pride, because he will expose you to something, or he will let you go until you bump into something, and he'll be like, you know what, I have put my people in place to correct you and you did not listen. I gave you instinct and conviction and intuition, you bypassed that. I brought people into your life, you bypassed them, and now I, myself, I am going to deal with you. Even when we say, Kangwe mikono jo mukama, yes, mikono ja mukama, it's better than falling into the devil's hand, because again, the devil came to steal, to destroy. For him, it's about destruction. That you've made a bad decision, he's literally going to use it and amplify it and explode it and kujisasanya. For him, it's about destroying and stealing. But for God, it's about to make sure that he bends you down to your knees, so that you can get the meekness and the humility that you need in order to know what will grow you. And let me tell you, it's easy to be broken when you are already down. When God comes to break you, let him find you on your knees. But when he finds you standing, you might not recover. You might not recover. So let's look into that and be able to actually see what we really need to do, okay? If it's going to serve them, stop pleasing them. If it's going to serve them, stop pleasing them and start serving them. So this is now the issue of people pleasing versus serving people. When you are of service, you are authentic. You don't serve to please. No. You serve to inspire growth. If your service is not growing someone, if your service is not causing improvement, if your service is not causing multiplication, my service to you, just like I usually say, I don't like being in dormant groups. I like being in a place where I am contributing and I know that there is literally a measurement of growth. Like when you look at the coaches and what they are doing and the lives they are touching, the people in beyond success now, that is, we are contributing to the world. That is why when we talk about attitude, and we're like, people that have good attitude, you can tell one who has bad attitude. Okay? And now whoever is in that room and they have bad attitude, ng'obagambe by'ebyokufunya omumwa n'oguteeka mu nnyindo tebigenda kukola. Bikubiza bikukaddiya. Style up. Wake up. Wake up. Yeah, I've even told it to Ariela. Kids, they want to show you that, you know what, I am annoyed. I'm like, it's okay, you show me that you're annoyed, but you're getting angry. Straighten your face, smile. You look better when you're smiling. Okay, so course correction now, it is people pleasing versus service. Remember what we're talking about? For those of you that have just joined us and those that are joining us online, it's okay to hurt them. It's okay to hurt them. Because sometimes it's not that you want it, but it is necessary to hurt them. It's necessary to say no. It's necessary to tell them, if you do not change, you're headed for destruction. It's okay to tell them, if you don't put your legs together, you're going to give back to another fatherless child. It's okay to tell them that if you cannot have a proper plan, whatever business you're going to start is going to die. If you cannot be committed, in 1 year you have done what? 7 businesses. And all of them are on zero. You have nothing to show for it. Mugaba wetereze, wesulise. I think, and that is where you see these sayings, we just say them, but they have a lot of meaning. Mugaba wetereze, wesuli. Because omuntu yesulise bintu abida bachifula nenge. There's someone who was telling me today, they were actually talking to a lady because they got employed, fresh out of campus, they got employed. And so they were like, you know what? I want to get my own apartment, move out of my mother's house. And, I just want to have my own life and have control of my life. And that she was speaking with a lot of attitude. So this person, and actually told him that, you know what? God has positioned destiny helpers, sometimes not in form of coaches or guides, but sometimes katonda kuleka n'ogwa mu mikono gy'omuntu omutuufu. And they break down things until you understand. So this person was like, okay, how much are they giving you? They're giving me 1 million shillings. That is minus, before taxes. So after taxes, and then we're like, so, where do you want to rent? Oh, I want around Tinder, Chanja there. That is where I want, in an apartment. And when people say apartments, they mean flats. Oh, yes. Yeah. So apparently, I didn't know there's an apartment of 400,000. But this person said there's an apartment of 400,000. They're like, okay, so how much is your transport to work and back? They're like, yeah, so that can end up being like 300,000. Yeah, so now that is 700,000. Remember, tax, maybe it's around 150 or, 150. So it's like, okay, so the feeding, and then you're a young girl, by the time you want an apartment, you want to buy household things, and then you want nice hair, and then you want to clothe. And like, but now my parents there, they will step in. So this person told her, call your mother right now and give her your plan, that you want to rent an apartment, and tell her how much you will be willing to supplement on your income. So she called the mother on a loudspeaker, and the mother. So she explained, I'm going to get an apartment for this much, and then transport and what. But now the problem is I have to feed, and then I have to clothe. How much will you be able to give me, like on a monthly? And the mother was like, we've really been just surviving. We've barely been surviving, because the best we could do is really food. So that means I can only give you like 50,000 a month. She put down the phone. And then she called the broker who was looking for the apartments. And it's like, as in, but how many people in this town earn 500,000 and they're renting apartments? And do you know what now they're headed for? getting 5 boyfriends who give them different things, okay? And like amaso gababera mungalo bwegat, even abalaba the next money, where the next money is going to come from. So while Juma is getting out, Ambrose is coming in. While Ambrose is getting out, there is, as in, why? Then they become prostitutes. And let me tell you, at different workplaces, we work with people who have already resigned. It's only that they don't have the name, that they are prostitutes, but they are prostituting. And in a very corporate way, in an apartment. And definitely others are dying with loans. Everything is being taken, and they're so stressed and they're so perturbed. And now they want to grab every man or anyone that comes to them. And by the way, these days, even the boys are going. They love apartments, and then they love nice, outfits, and they love, going to the gym, and they're not willing to work. So do you see how bad decisions come about? So now, if I say it's okay to hurt them, it's okay to tell you the best thing you can do is stay at your mother's place until you get married. Yeah. Or the best thing is sub-rent with your brother. Yeah. Yeah, sub-rent with your brother. Tell your brother, we are both out of school. Can we rent a house so that we both stay in it? And see what happens. But it takes a person that baba itabamire insana. Agamba echija chije. I will tell them. I will tell them, if they hate me, let them hate me, but I will be of service to them. And who are the people that are thanked most at graduations, at weddings, at beautiful functions? Who are the people that are thanked the most? Be very honest. The tough ones. Because they're the ones that keep us on course. Akuteka kubunkenke. Have you ever met, there are those, I will, for lack of a better word, I will call them the wiseacre friends of our parents. Hey! Yeah. You see, I have people nodding their heads, but let me tell you, those people have kept us in line. If you have a parent in this generation where no one knows what's happening in the other fence, it's so easy for someone to get spoiled. But oimiria kukobolyani na akavubuka. Mama kaitesa akusange. Hey! That one, are you furious more than your parent? Like, they are more entitled to you than your parent. No wonder they said it takes a village to raise a child. And now you're there. Like, if it wasn't for her, maybe I would have gone astray. And now, in hindsight, that is why they say we love our parents more after we grow. Because then you tend to look back and you're like, oh my goodness. If these people, if they had let me have the simple life I wanted, I don't think I would have been where I am. Oh, today I don't want to go to school. And they say, let's cover you, baby. You stay home. Hey. It's okay to hurt them. It's okay. You have a husband who doesn't want to work. You tell them that, you know what? Food has to be bought in this house. Yeah, these days, I've gotten so many women complaining that their men stay home sleeping while they go to work. And then the same men go into their pockets and their bags. Yes. And they ask for transport and they ask for airtime. And guess what? The airtime to go and kwana other women. Because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So while you stay home and you're lifting your legs and you're watching Be Nigeria, you're thinking about what to sweet talk Angela and what to tell so and so. Ask a person who is busy. They don't even have time for their own lunch. What they're thinking about is, it's about holidays has started. Now that means we need to stock things at home. And when the holiday comes to an end, school fees, they usually are preoccupied by what's next. When will they get time to even go into petty issues? And even the women, if you're not busy, you're a sluggard. And the poverty will pounce on you like a vagabond. We read a scripture some time back. And then all of a sudden you realize you're tired of where you are. You're even tired of everyone around you. You're tebanyambie, tebakoze, chiteweyambie. Stop putting people in the things that you should have done yourself. So it's okay to hurt them. For example, someone does not like working and they're busy begging for money. You tell them the money I have is mine. It's okay to hurt them. Love their future more than you love their feelings, current feelings. Are they going to sulk? Yes, they are going to sulk, but they will get over it. I'm not teaching you bad manners, but I'm saying there are certain things that we must be able to do in our lives, okay? We must live in service of other people, and if we live in service of other people, we should be able to course correct them. And then when someone definitely repents, repenting, we've talked about it being a U-turn. You realize that someone will even need more guidance from you. Why? Because they have made an about turn and they have realized that this is not something that I would want to do. I would want to do something that is totally different from what I am doing right now. So that means they are course correcting and they are changing their direction. And that is why we usually say when someone comes to you and repents and says that I have apologized, apologizing is a changed action and changed decisions. It's not a word that is said with the mouth. Otherwise, so many people have thrown the word sorry around so many times. Sorry is not repentance. It's the changed action and the changed behavior that means total repentance. That means someone has acknowledged that this was wrong and now I am doing, and I usually tell the people that are on the receiving end of apologies that give time. Sometimes it's not going to be boom, the person has course corrected. That sometimes you need to encourage them. Sometimes you need to encourage them why they made that decision and why they want to keep accountable. So sometimes you have to be an accountability partner as well. So while God gives you the strength to course correct someone, God should give you the strength to also become an accountability partner to some of those people so that you can be able to help them out of wherever they are, okay? I want us very quickly to just go through some of the things that I noted down here, some hindrances to correction, okay? Some of us, we have a lot of fear. A lot of fear is keeping us from correcting. You're like, now I don't know how things are going to go. What if someone just fumes? How do I even start? You know, what words do I even use, you know? And apart from fear, some of us are just not confident. You see it, and then, have you ever seen something wrong and then you go whisper to another person so that that person can attack that? Yeah. Like, now, I don't know how to tell the other person that her mouth stinks. I don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. But for you, you can tell them, go away, kaza, you know? Gwegenda yo. Yeah, so that means there is a fear element, and the fear is the fear of being misunderstood. And sometimes the fear is in the fact that we are also not in an upright standing, so we fear there could be backfire. Because while you correct someone, have you ever corrected someone, naktunulia, and they look you down and up and they're like, you also do this. They're like, oh, sorry. I know, 2-0. And maybe yours was bigger than theirs. That's why they say, why would you complain about another's thing, speck in their eye before you remove your own log? Okay? That does not go to say that if you have your own mistakes or things that you have done, you cannot love another's future more than you love their feelings. But then you should expect that there's going to be an exchange with some people. And sometimes it's good to assess. There are some people, and it's good not to rebuke people even in public. The sin that was committed or the bad thing that was done was maybe done in private. Can you be able to correct them in private? You don't bring it to... Now, let me call a family meeting. We all have those wakezekas in some families. Like, Shinonja Chiti, a family meeting. Now, take on a WhatsApp group. As in, to correct something that they could have corrected directly that person and no one else could have known. But there are people that I want to be known that I am the one who... And that is not right. Then, yes, you're going to break so many people, but that is stepping on people's toes, okay? But not for the right reasons. Because when I say that it's okay to hurt them, you have to step on some toes. And Tim usually says, from some conversation I had with him, that sometimes it has to be deliberate. And sometimes you don't have you ever seen people who are apologetic? They're stepping on the toes, but they're stepping while they're coming. Stepping, but you're coming. That is a person who is trying to course correct someone, but they're not willing to go all the way. Have you ever seen people who come with, I don't know, maybe you're just sick, but the other time, Kale, when you talked to me, when you whispered to me, I felt like your mouth was stinking. But maybe, I don't know, maybe you had taken long to speak. Maybe, yay, there are people who do like that. They're like rats. They bite while... I know, but yes, but sometimes you have to come gather. You see that toe, and you're not apologetic. You step on it, and then they feel the pain. You're like, yeah. Do you feel what it feels? Do you feel the pain as well? Yeah. So there's so many things that we go through, and sometimes it's the laziness. How many of us have ever just been lazy to correct another person? Yeah. You're just lazy. You're like, you know what? I have many things on my own. Does it even, I will tell them. And then a year goes by, and they're still doing the same thing. Whenever they do it, you cringe your face, you frown. But again, you still let it go. You're just lazy. You just don't want to attack it, or you just don't want to deal with it. And then for those of you that are in marriages, and the person that you're supposed to hurt is actually your spouse, maybe you're a man and you're supposed to talk to your wife, and you're supposed to course correct them, and you become lazy, you realize that you will be quarreling about the same thing. Or you will get annoyed about the same thing every day of that year. And then this is what happens. Because of laziness, we pile up so much that when we get to course correcting, we are exploding instead of speaking in a tone that is understandable and a tone and feedback that can be understood. Because I should have told you that, you know what, but this, I don't know. Do you feel you're doing the right thing? Like you're having a conversation with someone. Do you know that some people, you ask them such a question, it sends them thinking, and they can course correct because you asked. There are people who are sharp. Yeah. But there is nothing as hard as course correcting someone who is slow. Now, there are different types. There are those who are naturally slow. You will spell it out for them, and they will still be. And they will still be slow. Like some of you usually say, you understand very fast after a very long explanation. Joshua. You know? And there are those who will grasp just by looking at you. They'll be like, I've done something wrong. I need to be able to, they will have their own conviction, and they will be able to make an about turn. Okay? So apart from laziness, sometimes we talked about it, the relative morality, like you don't have the moral authority to actually correct someone. And so many people actually fall in that category, okay? And sometimes we're just uncertain. Should I correct? Should I not correct? Is it the right time? Is it not the right time? You're like, let me first leave it and see. Yeah, and some of us even say, let me pray. Let me take you to God in prayer. Have you seen intercessors? Intercessors are the number one procrastinators and haters of people's futures. Sometimes. I'm not saying all of them, but sometimes. Because when they come and they start talking about people's habits, the first thing you should be able to ask someone, have you ever talked to her? I come, no, it's okay. I'm taking it to God in prayer. And God, I love her. I know. So that's why I say be of service. Stop being a people pleaser. Be of service. Yeah. Let God use you so that you can go and tell them that, you know what, this business of coming to church with this kind of slit that is up here, who are you trying to impress? Where, pastor? Where are you living, our young men? This business of coming late and you're banging Labukondo and you're like,
and you want to sit in front.
What's wrong with you? And then someone comes and tells you about their spouse. You tell them that, you know what, I don't think I'm the right person for you to come and complain about this. I think you are supposed to complain to your spouse. If it's not about a counselor, because there are people who are just used to speaking. Can you imagine? Yesterday he did this. Because I'm not going to change what is in your house. It's your spouse who is supposed to change what is in your house. Okay? So I need us to be able to look at those things so critically. And we talked about is your life as an example. Okay? If you're supposed to be of service, your life has to be an example. We've talked about that. And then, do you have an adequate relationship with that person? Because course correction demands that the person knows that you have their best interest at heart. You are not out to hurt them, even when they feel hurt. Like, Naye, Gundi, have you ever told someone, do you think they would have sat down and just planned to come and hurt you? No. They were thinking the best about you. They want you to be a better person. And that is why they actually came. Okay? So, you make sure that you have an adequate. It doesn't have to be a close, gango, bade and what. No. But if you're the kind, we talked about acquaintances, and we talked about people that we share groups. So you realize they're their colleagues. That you don't want to wait until another person sees the hole on their skirt. Or you don't want to wait until another person sees something that befell them on social media, or someone was yabadababia. No, you want to be able to ask them, mumanyi kamukubira essimu mugambe ekiri ku social media okiraba, you know, mugambe nti naye twabadde mu meeting, the way you responded to your boss was not appropriate. If you ever do that to another boss who cannot take that foolishness, you'll be out of the door. But why? Because you share a space, whether you share a mother's union, whether you share a working space, whether you share a church space, whether you go to the same mosque, whether you realize that we have those people that are in close proximity that we can be able to. So you don't come as a total stranger and you're like, Alua, mumumpe nze mubagambire. That is, you're intruding, you're poking your nose where it does not belong. Yes, it's possible that you will deliver the news, but it will not be taken in the same kindness, the level of kindness, like a person who has an adequate relationship with that person. That is why sometimes when we want to get to a person, sometimes, and we're just an acquaintance, we will even look for their BFF, or we'll look for their best friend. I'll be like, you know what, if I deliver this, it will be taken maybe in a different light, but if you deliver this, it will be taken lightly, and it will be, you know, it will be read as kindness on their part. Okay, so I need us to be able to look into that. Okay, now we are running marathon. Do you have the facts? Do you have the facts? Some of us, we hear mbu, okay? After hearing mbu, someone gave you, you know, something else. And I think I was watching a movie recently. Someone just made an allegation. Actually, it was an allegation about the bride, and the father took the allegation as the truth and sabotaged the wedding. And then after that, he realizes that, oh, I did something totally wrong, because he was discussing with a friend and telling them, no, that guy, you know, is like this and is like this. And the friend was like, how were you in your young years? You did even worse than your son-in-law. The one who was about to be your son-in-law, you did worse, a lot worse than he was doing. You say it was a movie. You say he was taking cocaine. For you, you're a dealer. I know. And then the man listened, you know, the hard pill, because it was a friend who corrected him. They were driving, and clearly his eyes were like, you know, when your eyes open to a truth, and you're like, okay, I have been playing God, and I have been playing like I'm in the driving seat, but I do not have a right to sabotage my daughter's happiness if this is the man that she has chosen. He looked left, right, and center, got the phone immediately, called the mother-in-law the other side, the opposite family, and set up an appointment to meet with the children, to be able to apologize to them, and to be able to actually help them to come back into a union that they chose in the first place. And it was a beautiful ending. It was a beautiful wedding. And, you know, some of you are like, what time do you get to watch movies? 3 a.m. Okay? And then now you must have the facts. Don't take allegations. Don't say, what did she say? Let me go. No. Make sure that you have seen it firsthand. Make sure, because then you have to have point of reference, okay, when you're talking about it. And then, do you have the right motives? Some of us are course correcting to blame, to break, to condemn, to judge, not to course correct. A person who wants to course correct delivers information differently from a person who wants to break. A person who wants to break, you thought you thought this will get you far, and they come with that what is it called? They're boasting, okay? Their ego is ahead of them and it's so inflated. Their self-importance is in the sky. That is a person who wants to break. A person who wants to course correct will seek to be even more humble than the person who even did the wrong thing. Will be like, I know it's not going to make you happy, but again, I cannot sit on this fact and let you just go like that. I will blame myself 5 years from now. So let me tell it to you, you will know what to do with it. And then you will bless their heart, tell them whatever it is, and you will move on in your merry way. And if you're supposed to make a prayer, then you can make a prayer before you see them, and you can make a prayer after you see them. And you're like, God, follow up. That is your daughter, that is your son. You have, my work is done here. And then do not become, you've gone to course correct, and then after that, there are people who course correct like that. I think you have seen them, okay? And the producer is telling me I have to go, okay? Do you have the right wording, okay? The right wording. You must have the right wording. There are people who will come to correct you and they will be like they're holding pangas to come and just cut you with their words. Okay? And there is someone who will come to correct you. Nenga sisitira ne ku mugongo. Agamba bijja kutereera. Katutereezeemuko kino. You know? Bijja obutufumbo bujja kuddamu n'engeri gye wamuzzeemu teyabadde nnungi. You know? But there is someone who come. Ne katolooza obufumbo bujja busobola okula. Ani atambuza obufumbo bwe butyo. Abakazi b'ennaku zino. Yakurapingidde dda mu bakazi abalala. Yakurapingidde dda mu basajja abalala. And now, what you do is you go defensive. You're like, what moral authority do you have? Now you're exchanging words. So who is correcting who? The right wording and the right tone. Do not raise your voice when you're course correcting someone. Speak to them in love, in respect, okay? And in honor. Producer. And make sure that it's the right time, okay? There is someone being in the high spirits of a party or somewhere, and then all of a sudden you feel like putting a blanket on them. It's very possible that you'll say, you know what, let me let the party go on, but I will contact them tomorrow. So just know that it's the right time, okay, for them to actually, there are people who are at the height of their bad doing. They are in the moment, and they feel like they're untouchable. In that moment, even if you say how many words, because for them they think what they are doing is right, they will go ahead and do it. Because you've caught them in the heat of the moment. But when that heat comes down and you're able to come in and tell them, so just know the right words to be able to tell them, okay? And then prepare yourself for the risk of rejection. I think I should close here. I prepared more than I could be able to deliver in this 1 hour. But be able and be willing to be rejected. Okay? It's possible that the rejection can be momentary, and then after that, they will be like, Bajja kujja. Do you remember how I told you Ariela comes back into the door? Yeah. Peeping. And then all of a sudden, maybe one day they will say hi on WhatsApp. Maybe they meet you at a party and they will hug you. Yeah. And then after that, the way will be smooth now for you to be able to talk again. But in that moment, when the bitter pill is still going down their throat, they are going to look at you with a lot of bile. They're going to frown their faces, and they will even call a few people, tell them weird things, disconnected things. But if you've done the right thing, pat yourself on your chest and say, you know what? I have done what I needed to do, and I'm not adding anything to this. Hate me if you like. You'll know where to find me. I'm in close proximity. You will know where to find me, okay? And don't buy yourself into their lives. No. Don't come sheepishly with gifts and tidings and wanting to get into their lives. No, that means they will never learn. Allow them to hate you properly. And eventually, when they discover in hindsight that you were doing them a favor, they will even come and let me tell you, next time they're at a wedding or at an introduction or at a graduation ceremony, they'll be like, there is one person who turned my life around. They might not mention your name, but they will be like, you know what? I live because my mother hurt me several times, but I turned out okay the way I am. Okay? I've told you about Tim and his mentoring sessions. Do you know when he was telling me, you know, topakuka, you know, brands, you have to be very organic. Do you think people want to grow in an organic way? No. You want to go sweet. But when someone says, hey, slow down, then you're like, okay, you fight with a lot. And then in hindsight, you look at him and you're like, wow. That was God speaking, directly speaking to me and wanting me to stay long in this service instead of serving for 1 year and then I'm a gulungamenyi. Why? Because I sought to grow very fast and now the fall is very heavy, okay? Because I did not build the right perimeters and the right steps for growth. I love you guys. I will not stop talking, so it's better I just stop here. But I love you, love you, love you. Get that feedback coming. If you're the one that is being rebuked, don't frown, okay? But if you're the one rebuking, rebuke in honor and in respect. I love you and stay blessed.